What's good, party people? Welcome to the DJ Kenny Parker Show Friday night edition. Um, I wasn't doing ish on a Friday, so I decided to check in and see who was hanging out. Um, Ethan Sutton, what's good? Henry Cedillo, I see the regulars. Spook Realm 4Q, what up? Um, We normally do this for those that's not normally on the show. We normally do this on a Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but once in a while now, Fridays or whenever day, but on a Friday, I think I'm going to check in for a little while and just see how everybody's week went. Um, Ethan Sutton, I saw this question, and I say this every week, and every week I fail, but I'm going to try to move quicker this week so I can keep up with the questions. But I see Ethan Sutton had a good one. He said, "What up, DJ?" Let me put it here. Boom. He says, "Oh man, I gotta make it smaller now. I'm on my iPad, y'all. What up, DJ KP? What's the furthest length you have gone to record a sample?" And I have gone to great lengths. Of course, I've recorded off of record. I've recorded off of CD. I've recorded off of VHS movie. I've recorded off um of course I spent thousands of dollars on records. Um and the funniest thing was one time I was looking for this record back in 93. It was a drum break. And I never did find out who made the drum beat break, but Q-Tip had ended up using it on the Low End Theory. Um and I was looking for this drum break because I wanted to use it. And the only person I knew who had it was this guy named Dante, who worked at a record store. And Dante would not tell me the name of the record or sell me the record, but he said, "I'll put the record on a cassette for you," and charged me $10 for a cassette of the record that I wanted to sample. And I paid him $10 to get a cassette. And I used that cassette and I sampled the drums from that cassette into the SV1200 and made a beat, which I never used. So to answer the question, that's probably, excuse me, that's probably the furthest I've gone to sample, but I've tried everything. Um, Henry Cedillo says, I was playing the KRS-One song on my blunt getting smoked. Y'all forgot about that song on Return of the Boom Bap? That song used to rock in our shows too. I believe that KRS and DJ Premier produced that song together. I was not in the studio when they made that song, but I don't know who did what. But as I understand it, they both did that song together. Shout out to DJ Premier. Spook Realm 4Q says, and so assault that like button and buy the book. My brother's name is Kenny. Thank you so much. Please hit the like button if you guys get a chance. It helps the algorithm. Um, Gregory Nettis, what up? I see people talking about their favorite comedies. Gregory Nettis had mentioned Friday. I usually go by what's favorite is movies that I've quoted, either movies that I've quoted a lot or movies that I've seen a lot. Like it'll come on like cable or TNT or something in the middle. You could just catch it at any point and just continue on. I would have to say Fridays might be might be number one for me. I've probably seen Friday at least some portion of that movie at least 60, 70 times easy. Um, my cousin Vinny makes me laugh a lot whenever I see that. That was really funny. uh, Joe Pesci is a dope actor because he could be very scary, like in Goodfellas and Casino, and then he could be mad funny, like in My Cousin Vinny or in like Lethal Weapon. That's how you know an actor is dope, when you can get lost in their character, even though you know them from an earlier character. I see somebody mention The Jerk. Did I see The Jerk? I don't know if I saw The Jerk, y'all. Jack Swagger, what up? Bill Block, what up? Floetry One, what up? R Justice Hip Hop, what up? He said Weird Science. I saw Weird Science. I haven't seen Weird Science since the 80s. I don't recognize this name. Carbon Dark Matter. Peace. What's good? Are you new to the channel? Sugar Daddy One Williams, what up? Adam Bump, Ozak, what up? I'm on my iPad today, y'all, so it's a little small, but I try to switch it up for Friday. Different background, different computer, but we'll see. J Woo 72, what up? What up to the Rewind crew? Big up to the Rewind crew. There's another name I don't recognize. Friday, I be catching some names that I don't recognize. Levi Y. Israel. I hope I'm not messing up your name. Cincinnati, Ohio. I was just in Cincinnati um, in September. Big up to my man Napoleon that brought me out there. Um, Patrick Sargent, what up? Man, Patrick Sargent says, what are the spots to go to in New York City? I'll be out there next weekend. Welcome to the city, man. I'm so out of the loop. Like I said, I don't hang out anymore. I don't know any spots, man. New York is so different than it used to be. A lot of people, it seemed like the party moved to Brooklyn. It seemed like everybody's in Williamsburg or somewhere partying. I don't even know, man. I am out of the loop. Lower East Side used to have a bunch of parties. I used to DJ in Lower East Side. Not anymore. Jack Swagger says, KP, have you got that cassette beat on disc? Cassette beat. No. No, I don't have anything on. No, the answer would be no. Green Lion Entertainment, what up? Dartmouth, favorite KRS-One verse. Oh, man. I don't think I even have a favorite KRS verse. I have favorite KRS songs. My number one being The Bridge Is Over. I think that is one of the most important songs he ever made. It started a whole genre, changed the game. And I thought his career was over. When Shan answered the South Bronx, I had no idea he had The Bridge Is Over. So that would be my number one song. I love I'm Still Number One. I love Beef from the Entertainment album. I stopped eating red meat after that song. Um, so many. That's a tough question, man. Favorite KRS verse would be crazy. Jack Swagger says, I'm dreaming of being a blood. Yeah, man, we used to rock. That song used to rock in the shows. Nev Ed Official says, about sampling, when you make beats nowadays, do you still sample from vinyl? Yes. Or do you plug your phone into the SP and sample off YouTube, Spotify? I have done that, not plug my phone, but plug my computer in the line out of my computer into the mixer, into the sampler. I've found things that I liked off of YouTube and Spotify, but I still use records, CDs, anything. Any source that I could find some drums or sounds or samples that I like, I will use it. I have no problems. Derek Mallory, happy Friday. Big up to everybody that's chilling with me on a Friday. We just hanging out. I hope everybody had a good week. My week was good. I was doing a lot this week. Tired, which tired is good. Let's see. Once again, as usual, CMC's technique in class. Thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. Man, I really appreciate it. Salute KP with the mad crew up in the house. You know, that's Willie D saying that. And I wasn't even in the studio when that song was recorded, but I recognized his voice. I got the mad crew up in the house. That's Willie D of BDP, not of the Ghetto Boys. Rest in peace to my man Will. Um, in the 80s, producers' music styles were distinctly different. Was that an intentional thing? In the 90s, you said. Yeah, I think so. I think there's a combination of people just with their own style and biting. There was no biting back in the day. I remember times when you came out, you had a sample, and then somebody else came out with the sample first. You would scrap the record, like, oh man, they beat me to the sample. That happened to me a bunch of times. There's samples I went into the studio and recorded. On Heather B's first album, I was messing with the sample that Biggie used for One More Chance, the remix from The Barge. Do-do-do-do-do-do. I had that track going. I had it in the studio. We spent money in the studio, had that whole beat up, and then I heard One More Chance. And I was like, it's over. Um, Actually, a couple beats that Big was messing with, I was messing with. The Hypnotized, Herb Albert. That was like one of my favorite songs when I was a kid, Rise. I was messing with that. Then I heard Hypnotized, had to scrap that. So I think back in the 90s, especially in the 80s and 90s, you wanted to be original, even with your samples. I mean, there's people that use samples over, but for the most part, if you was rocking a sample and somebody else came out with it, you usually scrapped it, unless you was going to use it completely different. Um, and then people just had their own styles. You got to understand that sampling was a new in the 90s. Um, Sampling really started as we know it with the drum machines, really with Marley Marl in 86, um, with the SV12, sampling as we know it. And so sampling was really only 5, 6, 7 years in. So people were still learning it, learning how to use the machines. So I think that's why the styles were different. I think it was intentional. Um, Biting was absolutely a no-no. David, Jeffrey, wow, thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. I really appreciate it. Says, hey Kenny, a few episodes back you were saying the song Breath Control was on Edutainment. That is actually Breath Control 2. You are correct. The original Breath Control is on the Ghetto Music album. Rewind Crew Regular here. Peace. Thank you. You are correct. I was talking about the one that goes breath control, style, breath control, low, breath control, low. I've had two artists tell me that that was their favorite song, one of their favorite KRS-One songs, their favorite song off the album. One being Biz. He was like, yo, that style, Chris should have made that a single. And I was like, you are correct, Biz. That should have been a single. And Q-Tip also liked that song a lot, Breath Control. It's KRS-One, yes, the teacher. I wear clocks and only Nike speaker. That style was dope. That was a dope song, produced by KRS-One. The original Breath Control, I believe, was the beatbox. I don't know if that was D Nice on the beatbox. Ghetto Music, D Nice was still down during that time. It might have been D Nice, I'm not sure. But you are correct, David Jeffrey. Breath Control 2 is the one I was talking about. Thank you so much. I love fact checking, man. We gotta we gotta oh shoot, this is interesting. Yeah, we got a fact check. Keem says, I had to comment. I was at the concert with Chubb Rock, Vesta, and BDP. It was South Carolina State's homecoming in '89. Yes, I was 14 years old. I think KRS coat was stolen at that show. Yes, yo, somebody stole one of those leather jackets that KRS-One had. Somebody stole it. I don't remember if it was off on the side of the stage. That was South Carolina State's homecoming, 1989. And we went around looking for the person that we thought stole it. I remember that concert. Wow, that's a good one. You said you was 14 years old. What were you doing at the college concert? Chubb Rock, Vesta, and BDP. Vesta killed it, by the way. Well, everybody was dope, but when I first saw the lineup, I was like, "What is Vesta doing on here?" I thought that was weird until she got on. What was her song? Congratulations. She murdered that record. Had the whole crowd hands in the air. I was like, okay, Vesta. Rest in peace to her. Yeah, somebody stole one of those other jackets. I think it was one of the jackets from Jack of Spades video. One of those jackets got stolen. Can't have shit. Let's see. Patrick Sargent said Prince Paul is the man. Yes, he is. Shout out to my man Prince Paul. Old school fool, what up? I always get this name wrong. God, I know I'm not even gonna try to butcher it. I'm just gonna say what up. What's good, man? I'm not even gonna try to butcher your name today. Yo, Spook Realm 4Q said Blazing Saddles. Yo, anything with Gene Wilder in it, Gene Wilder is hilarious, man. What's the one when him and Richard Pryor was in jail? That's not Blazing Saddles. What was that? Is that Blazing Saddles? The one where him and Richard Pryor was in jail is hilarious, man. Jamil says, "What's up, Kenny? KRS-One speaks about health. Does he work out? Not sure if he works out every day. Not sure about that. That'd be a question I'd have to ask him." Jamil says, "Kenny, what's up? Do you remember doing the show in Springfield, Massachusetts back in '97? It was wild. I remember doing a show in Massachusetts. I don't know if it was Springfield, but I remember doing a show in Massachusetts that got cut. I've mentioned this on this channel, that got cut short, got canceled. The crowd got so wild. No, that was Connecticut. Or was that Massachusetts? Was it Connecticut? The crowd got so wild they rushed the stage, and we only did 2 songs and they canceled the show. We've had some wild shows in the '90s. Was off the chain. I don't remember so much Springfield, Massachusetts, but I vaguely, if that's the show I'm thinking about that got cut short. Let's see. Jack Swagger says, "My Philosophy" is my favorite. That was an incredible song. Patrick Sargent says, what are the NYC record stores to go to?" Well, I'm going to shout out A1 Records, of course, which is really the granddaddy of all the record stores now that's still around, of the used vinyl record shops. I've always had a good relationship with A1 Records. I've been going there since they first opened, since before they were even on it's called A1 because it's on Avenue A and First Avenue, A1 Records. I was going there before they were even at that location. People don't even know there was something else. and I bought a lot of records there, sold records there, everything. Um, I would go there. I mean, I'm gonna shout out Rock and Soul. My man Money Mike works there, but that's for like more newer stuff. They got a lot of equipment. Most all of the rest of the record stores are in Brooklyn. Um, Williamsburg and Bushwick got a few nice stores. Can't remember the names of them off the top of my head, but that's where a lot of the stores. A lot of stores closed down, as you can imagine. Um, Dartmouth, what up? Is KRS a good cook? Chef, yes. Chris can cook the dishes that he can make, and he'll talk shit too. Um, Triggs 9802 says, Kenny here on a Good Friday. What's good? Yes, we here on a Friday. Normally we're here on a Tuesday, but I decided to just check in and say what's up to the people. Never Ed Official says, what about VHS? Do you ever pull samples from VHS or 78s? Of course I pull samples from VHS. Absolutely. Vocal samples. I've even sampled some uh music that wasn't available on vinyl but was in a movie that I liked. I've sampled off of there too. Yeah, man. 78s, no. I haven't had a 78 in a long. I've had a 78 since probably 1978. um, let's see. Benny Doyle's in the building. What's up? Since I got this on in the background, I was rushing to catch this live and spaghetti sauce everywhere. Oh man, I'm in cleanup mode, but I'm here. Nettis, what's good? Benny Doyle, what's good to the Doyle brothers? Rod Justice Hip Hop says, I have removed samples because somebody else used it too. Yeah, I mean, even in sampling, you want to try to be original. Well, that was the goal back in the day. Even though you're sampling someone else's music, you want to be original in the way you use it, or even if you use it. I can't even tell you the amount of songs that I had a Bob Marley sample once. I don't even know how I was gonna clear that, but I was rocking with it. And then Poor Righteous Teachers used it, so I had to scrap that. Bunch. I could just go down the list of things that I was messing with that got someone else came out with. Um, Divine Existence says, Peace, KP. Yeah, cats were very picky with biting back in the day. Absolutely. Sharing this LL just for having similar drum programming. Yep. MC Light dissed Antoinette for using Impeach the President. Beat biter, dope style taker. What is it? Beat biter, dope style taker. Tell you to your face, you ain't nothing but a faker. Shout out to MC Light. Um, Antoinette used Impeach the President. I don't even know if she used it the way Light used it, but wait, I think she used it the way Audio 2 used it. Similar to Audio 2 top billing, but Audio 2 and Light are related. I think they're brothers and sisters, half brothers and sisters or something. And so Light went at her on that. Yeah, biting was an absolute no-no. Henry Cedillo said NWA got sued, De La Soul, and I'm pretty sure many others. BDP. I did a breakdown on this channel called Epic Fails Samples, All Samples Cleared. Please go back and check that out if you hadn't had a chance to check that out. I talk about some BDP incidences with sampling. I've never personally been sued. By the time I started coming up in the game, mostly samples were starting to get cleared. So I never got sued. Knock on wood, because somebody might crawl out from under a rock. I have not cleared everything I've ever used. Kevin Monroe says the saying boom bat was first said by T. La Rock, it's yours. Yeah, boom, the bat, the boom bat. at the end of the record. But I do believe the boom bap sound is a 90s thing. Some people said, I was watching something today where somebody was saying that they think DJ Premier created the boom bap sound. I think it was more like Marley Marl, but I mean, even the Bridges Over had boom, boom, bap, boom, bap, you know, hard drums. But yeah, Tila Rock coined the phrase in 84, but it didn't get popular 10 years later. Gregory Netta says, Kenny, did you have an 8-ball jacket back then? No, I did not. I seen Chris had an 8-ball jacket for a second. People was getting demolished over 8-ball jackets. No, I never had an 8-ball jacket. That style came and went so fast. Like Coca-Cola shirts. Remember when Coca-Cola shirts was popping for like one summer? Everybody had a Coca-Cola shirt, then it was over. 8-ball jackets was like hot for like a second. Um, Joey Joe, what up? Jimmy Knight says, I just bought a first press of BDP Criminal Minds. The price was $54 and well worth it. I don't even think I have any more original pressings of Criminal Minded. I have the instrumental album Test Press, but an original pressing is dope. Um, ah, Gerson Sosa, what's good? Don't recognize that name. Welcome to the channel. Says Stir Crazy. Yeah, that was a funny movie, man. But the woman in red too, Rick G. Wilder, the woman in red was funny too. It's his facial expressions. Gene Wilder doesn't have to say anything. He could just make a facial expression and you just fall out, man. Um, 73 Trini. What's good, my brother? Stephen from Sims Deli. What's good? We used to eat there at Sims Deli. It's across the street from where Chris used to live on 34th Street. Says, Kenny P, I remember the show at the Apollo in 90 with Shinehead and the late Heavy D. I remember Shinehead. I don't remember Heavy D on that show. I remember that show. Big up to Shinehead. KRS always talks about how Shinehead was a big influence on him coming up. Shinehead was dope. I've seen him and Chris together interacting. I've never got a chance to meet Shinehead, but whenever I saw him, he was always talking to Chris. But dope. He has a record called No Hafa Chat, which is my favorite. 73 Trini, what's good, man? Um, CMC's Technique says, see no evil, hear no evil is another banger. Yep, when Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder, one of them was blind and one of them was deaf. Yo, Gene Wilder, anything with Gene Wilder, man, I'm telling you, is hilarious. Patrick Sargent said, did you see the Beach Street Anniversary documentary? No, I did not. I didn't even know that existed. I saw Beach Street in the movies, though. Young KP went to see that. Ab215 says, Duck Down is hella underrated. Yes. Um, I'll tell you a funny story real quick. At the Rock the Bells concerts, the old one, not the old ones, but like 2008, I remember BDP was on the bill. Everybody was on that bill. Um, BDP was on the bill early. Went early in the day. I remember Chris Rock was on stage chilling. I remember that show. And And Freddie Fox was with KRS too. And then after the show, later on, Mos Def and Talib Kweli had performed. And then as they were coming off, I saw Mos Def. He was Mos Def then. Shout out to Yasin Bey. Um, he was Mighty Mos back then. So when I saw him coming off stage, I was like, Mighty Mos, what up? He's like, what's up? He's like, when's Chris going on? And I was like, Chris already went on. And he's like, what? You can't do Duck Down in the daytime? We both fell out laughing. Most Def says, you can't perform Duck Down in the daytime? Ah, that made me laugh. That's a real quick shout out to Yasin Bey. I haven't seen him in a long time. But yeah, it's a quick Duck Down story for you. Patrick Sargent says, you ever been to Koch Comics in Brooklyn? They're closing down April 30th this year. No, I have not been to a comic book store since I was a little boy. Um, I would have died to go to a comic book store as a kid. If you had told me that, I would have been there. I was fanatical about comics, me and my brother. Um, Chris Morale, that is it. Chris Morale, that is it. DJ Kenny Parker, where your brother? Where's your brother? That's my Shabba Ranks impersonation. Last time I saw Shabba Ranks, he says, where's your brother? And everybody said my impersonation was terrible. I think it's dope. His voice is deeper than mine, so where's your brother? Samuel Gervais says MC Light and Audio 2 are not related. I thought that they had the same stepfather or something like that. The Robinson, what's his name? Robinson that owned a record company. First Priority, I thought that they were step brothers and sisters or something like that. But okay, if you say they're not related, they're not, but um, they were very closely connected, and Audio 2 had done production for Light. They're in her video. I thought that they had half brothers and sisters or something like that, or um, stepfathers or something like that. But okay, I don't know. You probably know better than me. Your name is Samuel. Samuel, are you Sam from I Cram to Understand You? Are you the Sam she was talking about in I Cram to Understand You? That's how you would know? No, I'm just playing. Dartmouth says, what is the most valuable lesson Coach Hartstein gave you? Coach Hartstein was my high school basketball coach. Most valuable lesson, education is the key. He always to talk about education being the key out of, they used to call it the ghetto back then. Education. He always stressed education, always stressed education. Um, he was a teacher, but he was right in that education is what got me out the hood. And if I could name one person outside of my family that changed my life, it would be my high school coach Hartstein. I probably would not be here today if it wasn't for him. And on that note, I will plug the book. Please get the book. The link is in the description below. Actually, it's not in the description below because I forgot to put it in there, but you can find the book. I'll do it afterwards. My brother's name is Kenny. I go into great detail about Coach Hartstein and the lessons that he taught me. Great question. Um, let's see. Hold on. Terrell McMillan. Yes. Thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. Thank you. Always come through. Thank you so much. Much love, KP. KP2. Dope ideas for two different eras that should have happened. 80s Fat Boys versus Run DMC album would have killed the streets. 90s King Just and Meth would have been Nitro. Yeah. Um, King Just had a similar style, I think. Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. Um, he was like a Wu affiliate, right? King Just. Um, Fat Boys versus Run DMC album would have been ridiculous. But back then, people didn't collab like that. And they both had the connection was Curtis Blow. Curtis Blow put Run on and was the producer for the beat Action. He was not the co-producer of Action. That was Larry Smith. I thought Curtis Blow. I know Curtis Blow produced the Fat Boys, and he also put Run on because Run was son of Curtis Blow, so there was a connection there. I'm trying to get my history right. That would have been dope, especially around that Crush Groove time after like that movie when both of the groups were on fire. That would have been dope. I love the Fat Boys. Still trying to get Cool Rock Ski on the show. Would love to talk to him. Thank you for your contribution as usual, Terrell McMillan. CMC, once again, thank you for your contribution to the channel. Says late 80s, early 90s bootlegging was insane. Yes, it was. Have you or any BDP members run up on any of these guys and they didn't know it was you? No, I don't. At my time, I don't recall running up on bootleg um, music, but we did run up on bootlegger. We ran up on a bootlegger who was selling fake BDP, not fake, well, fake BDP shirts outside the concert. And we came out the concert running, we saw him and walked right up on him, and he gave us shirts. And Chris wasn't like, you gotta stop selling shirts. He would not try to like, shut him down, but he was just looking at the shirts like, ah. And the dude was like, yo, here, he gave like us 2 or 3 shirts, one of which I still have. That was in 1992. I still have the t-shirt. I got caught out there right in 1986 when there was bootlegging, but we didn't really know what it was. There was a guy in the street selling cassettes with the pictures on them and the plastic. And I bought Janet Jackson Control album from a guy in the street. He was selling a bunch of albums. And I bought Janet Jackson Control. And it was cheap. I was so happy. And I thought he was selling them for cheap because he was outside. I got home and there was only like 5 songs on the whole tape. It was like half the album. It had the picture, it had the writing on the cassette. It looked legit until you popped it in. And there was only 5 songs. That dude caught me out there, man. Hold on a second. Somebody's texting me. What the hell? Sorry about that, y'all. Yeah, so I got caught out there with that. I don't think, I'm trying to think, we've never ran into bootleggers like that. I've heard stories of other groups giving it to bootleggers. Jack Swagger, Primo credits Marley Marl for his style. Marley Marl is the father of sampling. And even though Criminal Minded is the first album, full-length album, to have most of its music derived from sampling, BDP was right at the forefront of sampling. Shout out to Said G for his contributions. BDP was right there in 87. By the time sampling took off in 86, BDP was on top of it. But Marley Marl is the guy. He's the guy who pioneered sampling as we know it. Before that, because Run DMC in 86 as well, Peter Piper picked peppers, but Run Rock Rhymes, they used the Mardi Gras sample from Bob James, but I do believe I think I read that Jam Master Jay was literally throwing in the record, like cutting the record and throwing it in to the drum track. So it was a sample, but he wasn't using a drum machine. He was literally throwing in the record. So Raising Hell album came out in '86. They used Mardi Gras. Um, and people were like throwing in little things. But then when Marley came, that's when it got crazy. When the technology and Marley caught up to each other, that's when it got crazy. I didn't know I didn't know that Preem gave him credit like that, but that's dope. And I'm falling behind. Jack Swagger says KP was the starter jacket king. Yes, I had a Atlanta Hawks starter jacket. It was red and yellow. Jack Swagger says a Coca-Cola shirt and a Black Bart shirt. Black Bart. Yo, I forgot about Black Bart. And I said I was gonna move quick, but now I'm falling behind. Rod Justice says I have the Criminal Minded album Hope Beat on the cover. Yes, the Hope Beat. If you got the Hope Beat Criminal Minded, that's the real early Criminal Minded. The B-Boy Records one. Rock Candy distribution with the Hope Beat on it. I might have. I don't think I have that anymore. Damn. Jack Swagger says Criminal Minded instrumental album test pressing. That's a flex. Yeah. What's the word I want to use? Inherited a lot of KRS-One's records and some of Scott LaRock's records. That Scott LaRock's family, when Scott LaRock passed, his family gave KRS-One a lot of his records. And Chris had them for a while. And I borrowed quite a few records from Chris over the years, and I've managed to hold on to them. I have some interesting acetates too. I have before Boogie Down Productions, I think it was Scott LaRock and the Celebrity 3. That was their first song. You've Got to Advance. I have the acetate of You Got to Advance, 10-inch acetate with Scott LaRock's stamp on it. It was his record. I have that in my possession. That's probably my most rarest BDP record that I own. There's only one of them. But yeah, I have two copies of the instrumental album Test Press. I have two of them to cut back and forth. They're not in great condition, but I still have them nonetheless. Dan Marasuti says, my Criminal Minded copy is OG Wax. Dope. And I have the Bridges Over 45. I have the Bridges Over box set reissue. I don't know if you're talking about the 45 when it came. I didn't know if there was a 45 when it came out. I think there was a poetry 45. But I have the BDP box set that had all the 45s. Let's see. Charles 13X says, KP, you got to give it to your brother. He made your name one of the most iconic names in hip hop. Yes, he did. And I had no idea he was going to do it. I didn't hear it till it came out on the record. I didn't hear it till My Philosophy was on the radio. I had no idea. And it changed my life. My brother's name is Kenny. Please get the book. I go into great detail about that. But you are correct. My name is Kenny Parker. Even DJ Kenny Parker is Kenny. That is my name, but I didn't even have a chance to come up with some super name like, Grandmaster, Mix Master, something, something. I didn't even have a chance to do that. My name was Kenny Parker from Jump. Let's see. Rod Justice says, damn, Kenny, we have a lot in common. Now Have a Chat is my favorite Shinehead joint. Yes, I was listening to that record actually the other day and I was singing it word for word. I think I think I can battle Shinehead on his own record. I've listened to that record so many times. The original and the remix. The remix is banging. Brian Mitchell says, I saw Shinehead at the Fillmore in San Francisco in 1989. I was just listening to Know How to Chat yesterday. Word. That record is banging, man. Frochi said, didn't Shinehead do Don't Give Me No Crack? He did that too. I think that was the single off of his album in 89, but I think he should have came with No Half a Chat, even though that was on his album before that. The original No Half a Chat, I believe, with the reggae beat, with the Under Me Slang Tank beat, I believe that was on his album in like 87 or 88. Then he remixed it for his album in 89. I think that was on Elektra Records. But they came with Don't Give Me No Crack. But No Half a Chat was ridiculous, man. He has a rendition of Be Thankful for What You Got, too. That's really dope. Shinehead, Be Thankful for What You Got. Go listen to that when you get a chance. Charles 13X says, imagine if KRS-One would have said, little bro, come on down. Yo. That would have been my name, little bro. That would have been my name, little bro. Whatever he would have said, that would have been my name. Word. He could have he could have really killed me. Um, thank God he didn't do that. Um, Jimmy Knight says, have you used Discogs to buy any of your albums? It's a great source. Absolutely. Matter of fact, I was on Discogs today looking for something. Um, absolutely, I'm on Discogs. That's the online music store, y'all, where everybody buys and sells. It's like the eBay for records. Um, and if there's a record you're looking for in the whole world, you will find it on Discogs. But the prices, they will charge you. And you know what's whack about Discogs, though? The shipping these days, the shipping is more than the record. If you get a record from overseas, the record could be $10. The shipping could be $25. You could pay $35 for a record that was $10. That's crazy. Let me scroll down. Let me scroll down. Jason Wall says she did say they aren't related. Um, okay, then I was wrong. I really thought that they had a stepfather that was um, a stepfather, the Robinson. Nah, MC Light's not related to them. They just looked out for her like a sister. All these years I thought they were related. I was wrong. Damn, Light. She said Milk's bodyguard is my bodyguard too. They had the same bodyguard and everything. Here's the story right here. And says, I think Milk and Giz's dad was cool with Light's mom and he managed her. And if she was signed to First Priority is the Robinson. I think that's the father of Milk and Giz. Matter of fact, shout out to Milk too. I saw Milk 2 summers ago in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center at a New York Liberties game. I was at the New York Liberty game and I saw my man Milk. Shout out to Milk. So that's the story. They were not related. They just were close friends. DJ Casper said Human Head Records in Brooklyn is dope. Yes, I've been there a couple times. Yes, I haven't been there in years, but yeah, I don't know what stores are still open, but Human Head is a dope one. There used to be a bunch of dope record stores. They're all gone, man. Benny Doyle says, Kenny, maybe a ball player guest. Kenny Anderson might jump on. If I had Kenny Anderson's info, I would definitely talk to him. Last time I saw Kenny Anderson, we kicked it for a little bit. He's mad cool. I think I mentioned that on his channel. Um, Patrick Sargent said Rod Strickland. I met Rod Strickland for the very first time a couple of years ago. I was with D Nice, and D Nice knew him, and me and Rod Strickland talked for a second. We got many mutual friends, but I don't know Rod Strickland. He seems so quiet though. I don't even know if he would do an interview. He seems like he doesn't even really talk. He used to have no expression at all on the basketball court. I see a lot of people saying um, that MC Light and Milk is not related, so I was wrong. I'm getting I'm getting beat up a little bit on here, but I like, please fact check me on anything I say. That's what we do here. We're just trying to share information. And if you guys got information, please share it with me. Um, so for the record, because I got two things wrong. A couple weeks ago, I said Teddy Riley produced It Takes Two by Rob Bass. That was going around. That was a story for many years. Turns out that's not true. I said that and I was wrong. And now I said MC Lyte and Milk and Gears have the stepdad together, and that's wrong. That's it. I'm not being wrong no more for the rest of 2025. I got it out my system. Jack Swagger, LOL. KP got the Janet Control single. Exactly. I I got the single for the album price. I got caught out there crazy. I got caught out there messing with, because I like the song. What was the song that was Nasty had just came out? And I was like, oh, that beat was hard. Dun, 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 dun. That beat was hard. I was like, oh, this is dope. I had to hear the rest of Janet's album and got caught out there. This is a tough, tough question, James Brown. Hey Kenny, what is one of your favorite remixes? One of mine was Public Enemy's Night of the Living Bassheads, Anti-High Blood Pressure Encounter remix. I don't even remember that remix. Shut 'em Down, Public Enemy is a great remix. My favorite Scenario remix, the one where Buster goes, here in 1992, we have 7 MCs, one which is in Spiritual Essence. That's one of my favorite remixes of all time. Um, whew, there's been a lot of really, I'd have to think about that. That Scenario remix off the top of my head um, might be my favorite. Choice is Yours remix. The one that we know is the remix. That was real dope. I'd have to think about that one. You know what remix I like? R&B, SWV. Be on the one that right there that Teddy Riley did where he used the Michael Jackson sample. That was really, really dope. Way to flip that. I thought that was one of the great remixes. I would love to get Teddy Riley on here, man. Oh, that would be so dope. Um, Let's see. Kevin Monroe says sampling was first shown in Beat Street. It was? I don't remember Beat Street movie that well. What do you mean by sampling? Yami Bula says, question, who would be who was supplying the bootleggers? I heard it was the session engineers from back in the day. Well, that's when the mixtape, remember when the mixtape became very popular and having exclusives was the thing, to have an exclusive that wasn't out yet on your mixtape? I heard how a lot of times it wouldn't even be the main engineer because a session engineer would not risk their job and their reputation to bootleg somebody's music. But it be the assistant engineers, people that clean up. Here's how it happens. When you finish your session, right? You did your a mix or whatever you did, and you say, okay, let's send it to cassette, give me a reference to listen to and go home. They make you a cassette or CD or whatever. You take it, your session's over, you leave, and they clean up the studio either for the next person coming in or for the night. Now, when you leave, the board is still up. Your mix, everything is still up exactly how you left it. And a lot of times, before you, before they uh, flatten out the board and clean up everything, somebody would run a copy of what you were working on onto a cassette or onto a CD. Then they would clean it up. Then they would clean up the room. So now that person, the main engineer doesn't clean up or reset the levels. That would be for the assistant. Those guys were the guys. You catch a hot DAT or a CD or cassette of something somebody was working on, you could sell that for good money to the bootleggers and to the mixtape guys. That's why a lot of times some of them songs that was on bootleg, in the bootleg, remember the bootleg vinyls used to come out, Killer Cuts and all that? Some of those records and some of the stuff you heard on mixtapes, when it eventually came out in the stores, it was different, mixed different, or different vocals, or more was added to it. That's because a lot of times the songs weren't even finished, and dudes was stealing your mixes before you even finished the record. You could have rough vocals, whatever, and they'll just sell it. So people started, first of all, you had to be real careful who was in the studio. And second of all, you had to like um flatten all the EQs and like make sure everything was shut down before you left, or somebody would bootleg your music. That was one of the ways that people were bootlegging. I know people that they'll make a cassette, they'll have the actual, well, not a cassette, but like a CD or that of an album, and they will hold it like gold. They will not let anybody hear it until you get to mastering. It was that serious, man, because people was that was big money back in the day. You are right. So it was the session engineers, but not maybe the main engineer, but like an assistant would do you dirty. James Green, thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. Says KP, get the guard MC Rakim. Well, that would be spectacular. Do you got a number on the guard? If I got the guard on here, I don't think I would talk to him about rapping. He's had enough. I want to talk to him about production. People don't know how much of the original Eric B. and Rakim songs was produced by Rakim. I want to talk to him about production and DJing. Not so much about rapping, but production. That's what I really would love to talk to Rakim about. Um, Among other things that he's seen, I'd like to get some of his epic fails or behind the scenes stuff. But yeah, I would love to get the guard MC. I'm working on a bunch of these things. My scheduling for the past month or so has been really erratic. That's why I have not had a guest, but my schedule is starting to get a little more solidified. So I'm going to start having more people. Come on. Let's see. Um, I see somebody put Grandmaster DXT on here. Um, Let me scroll down. Chris Morale, that is, it says, makes me think of Beats to the Rhyme was done with the vocals on a record, just flown in crazy. Yeah. I mean, by the time Beats to the Rhyme came out, though, the drum machines, SB1200 and all that was popping, but I don't know how they did it. Beats to the Rhyme's the name of this jam. That was a dope record by Run DMC. I wish they had came out with that before Run's House. Beats to the Rhyme was hard, man. That was a dope record. Run DMC's production has always been top notch. Yami says, where is Harmony nowadays, DJ KP? That is a great question. Harmony is the sister of Miss Melody and a singer in her own right. She was signed to Virgin Records. I believe KRS-One produced her album. I think Todd Terry did some work on that album too. Shout out to Todd Terry, another person I need to get on this show. I have not spoken to Harmony since 1991. How long ago is that, y'all? 34 years? I hope she's doing well. Let's see. Let's see. Um, Shorty Blitz says Marley is credited with the happy accident of sampling individual kicks and snares. Yeah, I see Marley as the god of modern sampling. His DNA is definitely in Pete and Preem. His DNA is in everybody. His DNA is in everybody, every hip hop person who sampled from 1986 on. And I do believe, yeah, he had found a drum machine and figured out by accident that he can take kicks and snares from actual records and put them into a drum machine and manipulating them. Back in the day before that, drum machines came with pre-programmed drum sounds. So you bought a drum machine and whatever the sounds that came in the machine, that's all you had. So people would have whole racks, bunch of different various drum machines just to get different sounds. But when I think it was the SP12, I don't know what Marley discovered, but I'm going to say the SP12, when that came out where you can sample individual drum sounds, your own, that changed everything. And I think one of his first productions with that, I'm not sure, don't y'all about to fact check me here and diss me, but I think I think one of his first productions was Shan's The Bridge, using that style. Um, Before the bridge, I think most of Marley's samples came from um, using drum machines, actual drum machines, not sampling. Now, somebody's gonna kill me for that, but I think that is correct. By the way, this is the DJ Kenny Parker Show. We normally do this on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but we are here today on a Friday just hanging out. We're at an hour. I'm not going to go crazy long today. Thank you guys, who's on, just hanging out with me on a Friday, just talking hip hop. That's what we do. We talk about anything, really. We don't really have a set format. We just talk about sports or hip hop or whatever. I'm gonna hang out for a little while longer because there's a lot of comments I haven't seen. Um, Let me scroll down and see what I haven't seen. Um, let's see. I'm looking at Sweet Goldilocks. What up? Um, Def Rocker says we don't need no more littles in hip hop. Little something, little that. Everybody is little something. But to be fair, back in our day, everybody had a ski on the end of their name. This ski, that ski. We had a lot of grand wizards and grand masters and grands. We had a lot of that. Not as much as these days. Everybody is a little something. Right before that, it was a lot of young this, young that. Then it became little this, little that. We had a lot of skis and the grandmasters. But then in the late 80s into the 90s, that's when the names were really, you had to have a dope name too. There's some really dope names came out at that time. Very unique names. Hip hop took an incredible leap in like 87, 88. Like it just jumped. Um, Rod Justice says, speaking of WNBA, I have to see if my Chicago Sky can get better this year. Whew, it's gonna be tough for the Sky, man. Um, Everybody healthy, they might be fighting for that eighth seed. Um, I'm just thinking about the Sky's roster right now. I know they just added homegirl from Washington D.C. Forgot her name, the left hand shooting guard. They might be all right. You know what? Let me take that back. Chicago, if they're healthy, they will definitely be in the playoffs. Um, Jamil, does anybody where to any KRS unreleased music? Terrence Hill has a lot of KRS unreleased music, man. We need to talk to him about how we could hear some of it. He has more than I do. Shorty Blitz says, wait, who produced It Takes Two then? I was just looking, according to Rob Bass, him and DJ Easy Rock and then one other guy was in the studio and they produced that song, according to them, which sounds nothing else I heard from Rob Bass sounds like that style. That was such an advance. Even now, that record's production holds up. It Takes Two was advanced sampling and production at that time. The drum programming was next level. But according to Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock, they produced that song. I'm gonna leave that right there. Maybe they did. I don't know. Ed Olivier, what's good? Spook Ram says, I have my alarm set every Tuesday and Friday. Thank you. Friday is like spirit. We may do, I could do every Friday. I could try. Sometimes I'd be doing DJing or doing stuff on Fridays, but like, I'm a homebody. If I don't have something to do, I'm in the crib. So like right now on a Friday, I'm home, man. And thank you so much to the people that's checking in with me. I'm gonna do a little bit more. I'm just gonna scroll down because I want to see if there's anything interesting that I'm missing. Jack Swagger, Jay-Z, A Million remix was dope. Actually, I like the rich, that second beat where he goes, my this can't rhyme no more, about crime no more. That beat that Preem dropped right there, oh my goodness. A Million was a dope premiere production. Preem got so many dope productions, man. You know what's funny, Gregory Nettis? Mine's is Looney's I Got Five on a remix. I don't remember the remix, but that song was in my head all the way up until I just clicked on. I got five. I was in the store about an hour before I came on this live, and they were playing the Looney's I Got Five on it in the store. And that song was stuck in my head for like an hour. Doom, I got five on it. That song was stuck in my head. Could not get it out. And now you just put it back. Thanks. Oh, wow. Parson 79 was talking about Pharrell I mean, talking about SWV, so that I heard Pharrell actually did that remix. Teddy just took credit for it. Wow. I don't know if that's true, so I'm not gonna even comment on that. But wow, and I know that Pharrell, he may have done all I want to do is zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. I believe he did that beat, and his vocals are on it. Check, baby, check, baby. I believe that Pharrell's vocals are on. All I want to do is zoom, 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 in a boom, boom. Just shake your rump. I believe his vocals are on that record. I believe he has something to do with that. Now, if he did the SWV remix, wow, that would be scandal. Actually, this is one of my favorite remixes of all time. Jason, well, Bone Thugs and Crossroads remix. The album version is different. The Bone Thugs and Harmony Crossroads remix is one of the best remixes of all time. Absolutely. That's right at the top. I'm gonna put that in my top five. Actually, Biggie One More Chance. The video version is not the same as the album. That was great. You know what was different too? Arrested Development's Everyday People. That was a dope remix. That original is not on the album either. That album sold 5 million. Get it, Speech. I can't believe you said that Pharrell did that remix and Teddy took credit for it. I don't even want to put that out there because I don't know if it's true, but that would be crazy. Oh, this is a grip. Divine Existence says, KP, didn't you release some instrumental compilations on Wax back in the late 90s? What's the story on that? Um, that's great. I did three really, but the one that two of them was just, everybody was doing like these break albums, putting they were legal actually, taking songs of different samples and making a compilation for other DJs to sample. Some people approached me to do those. I did three of those. I did two of them with BDP samples. I think is it called KRS-One, The Breaks? Something like that. And I dug up a lot of BDP samples, some that were out there, some that I only had in my collection. But the one you're probably talking about is called Kenny Parker Battle Beats. I put that out in 1998, 97, end of 97. I had a distribution deal with Unique Records, which was a independent distributor that distributed for all the majors. So it was vinyl only uh, deal, and I put out a few things, but I had all of these beats laying around and nothing to do with them, so I compiled them onto two DATs, side A, side B, and I made an instrumental compilation, and that did very well for me actually. Made me a bunch of money. It sold very well, a few thousand copies of vinyl. I made some good money on that, and it cost me almost nothing to make. Um, there's probably still a few on Discogs. There's probably a few still floating around. Um, but yeah, that's a story with that. I had a distribution deal, and I had done some other stuff on it. And I just I just threw that out there just because I had some beats, and it ended up doing pretty well, pretty good for me. You know what's whack about that too? A couple years after that, I met one of the Outsiders. Y'all remember the Outsiders? Um, Eminem was a member of the Outsiders for a second. Um, Pace One, I think. I'm forgetting the name of the Outsiders, but that group, the Outsiders, one of them was telling me how they had bought that instrumental album and wanted to use one of the beats on their album. They wanted to cut up one of the beats and rap over it for their album, but they couldn't get in touch with me. I was like, what? could you not get in touch with me? I was all over the place. And it's something like they wanted to use it, but ended up not using it because either they couldn't get in touch with me in time or something like that, which was so whack, man. Yeah, The Outsiders. So that album almost had a placement, but it didn't. Um, Joey Joe says, Kenny, have you heard Lord Finesse's remix of Right Here? No, I have not. I will check that out as soon as I get off of here. Um, C Mac the Cable Guy says, Big One More Chance. Yeah, that was a great remix. Um, this was actually Christopher Reed, LL Cool J remix Jingling Baby. That was big for LL. LL was his album, that I believe that album, even though it went platinum, the street cred, I think that album was hurting. Like Walk Like a Panther. I think that album didn't really hit the way LL wanted, but that remix of Jingling Baby kind of brought him back and set up the Mama Said Knock You Out album. Shout out to Marley Marl on the remix. Um, Rod Justice says the earliest known sample-based recording is generally considered to be He's Gonna Step on You Again by John Congos, released in 1971. It used a tape loop of African drumming. Wow. So they took a tape and spliced it and kept, wow, that's crazy. I guess that would be considered sampling, yeah. I mean, not sampling as we know it, but sampling, yeah. That's crazy. Buffalo Girls, they was doing the what? And they took pieces of the world famous Supreme Team's show and put it in the song. So they sampled off of the cassette. They took the cassette of the world famous Supreme Team and was throwing in little bits and pieces in the song. I would love to get C Divine on here, man. Rakim Microphone Fiend 45 King remix was dope. Shout out to the 45 King. I miss my brother. He was such a great producer, man. Um, Patrick Sargent says, get Biz Markie and Spirit on here. Absolutely. That's dope. Yeah, Biz would be on here. Man, that dude knew every sample. Biz, did I ever tell you guys he had like a photographic memory? Biz knew every phone number. He didn't write down any phone numbers. You just tell it to him one time. I remember him saying, Kenny, do you remember when you had this number back in 1991? And he would just rattle off some number that I don't even remember. And I was like, oh, yeah, I did used to have that number. Like he remembered all my phone numbers I don't even remember. And he also remembers every album cover and every sample. If you bring up a record, he'll be like, I got that record. And he'll be like, it's the one with the yellow and the blue, and there's a girl with a violin on it, that one, and it'll be that one. Biz was, if we talking about sampling, we'd be on here for days with Biz, man. I say it every show. I miss him so much. Def Rocker says, I like the remix for DOS Effects. They want effects. Yes, I'm gonna put that in my top 5. Yes, absolutely. That remix was ridiculous. Doom, doom, doom. That bass line was ridiculous. Shout out to the Diggity DOS, man. All right, I'm gonna do a Benny Doyle scroll down all the way down, then I'm gonna jump off. Um, James Green, thank you so much once again for your contribution to the channel. It says Mary J. Blige, What's the 411 remix album was banging. My favorite being Doom, 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 doom. They used the Kenny. Wait a minute. They used to keep rising to the top. Baby, there's no need to worry. Doom, doom, doom. That was ridiculous. Puffy used to do some dope remixes back in the day because his remix of Jodeci, Come and Talk to Me, that's one of the dopest remixes out too. Come and Talk to Me remix from Jodeci was banging. That Puff Daddy used to really do his remix thing, man. But you're right, that Mary J album, um, you remind me, is that the one that had Greg Nice on it? Is that on that album? And what's the 411 remix with Big? Like that was, you're right, that was banging. Um, Let me scroll. I'm gonna scroll all the way down to like the bottom, and then I'm gonna jump off. How could I forget this? I got you open remix. Shout out to Evil Diesel on the mix. That's in my top. That could be number one. First of all, one of my that's in my first of all, Black Moon Enter the Stage is in my top five favorite albums of all time. So with that being said, the original I Got You Open was ridiculous. My man Willie D of BDP used to love, we used to ride around. I used to bump that so much. Oh my God, I used to play that so much. He was actually mad when they did the remix. But I love that is one of the great remixes of all time. You are correct. Dan Marasuti, how can I forget that? That is in my top three. That could be number one. Shorty Blitz says, Kenny, have you heard Mary J. Blige Pete Rock remix for Family Affair with CL? No, I did not. No, I did not hear that. Benny Dole says, we're jumping off already. We just got in, though. We're at an hour and 22. Normally, we go to like an hour and a half. Um, so I normally don't go that long. I mean, an hour and a half is Pete Rock Don't Stop the Prophet was dope. That was dope. House of Pain Jump Around Pete Rock was real dope. I'm gonna shout BDP, KRS-One, You Must Learn Caucasus Mountain remix. I still play that to this day. That was a dope remix, which they actually made the single. That is not on the Ghetto Music album. And I still have the original record, Freedom, Get Up and Dance, that KRS-One used to make that song was originally Scott LaRock's record. Scott LaRock had that record, Get Up and Dance. KRS got it from Scott, used it to make You Must Learn, and I have that record in my possession. It has Scott LaRock's stamp on it, has KRS-One's writing on it. I still have that in my possession, the You Must Learn record that he used. All right, we're almost at the, oh. Why you gonna go and do this, Theo Sanders? Why you wanna do this, man? Method Man, All I Need remix. Yo. The razor sharp one. The dun 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 the video version. The Puffy version was dope too. They used to play that a lot in the tunnel in New York. That was like the one the girls liked, but the one the dun 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 that was ridiculous. Oh, that's I'm gonna say that remix and Bone Thugs, those are right at the top for impact. Biggie, those were ridiculous. That's possibly the greatest thug love song of all time, by the way. And it might be the greatest combination of hip hop and R&B, possibly. I mean, like a rapper using an R&B artist, that could be the best ever. Now, that's my opinion. I'm right here at the bottom. Black Sheep Similac Child remix. That I don't with Pete Rock. I don't remember that one. Spook Realm. I don't remember that one. This was dope. MOP remix. DJ Premier Rugged Never Smooth. Dun, da, 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 dun. Oh, I'm thinking of Downtown Swinger. Downtown Swinger was banging. Um, yeah, Markeith Bankroll, Barry White playing your game, baby. I got you open. Yep, I got that 45. Shout out to the great Barry White, sampled so many times. Barry White's imprint in the fabric of hip hop is solidified, and he doesn't even get mentioned like that. Barry White was an incredible artist. Um, Benny Doyle says, I love this Friday mix. Kenny is doing great things with the channel. Thank you so much, my man, Benny Doyle. Um, I might try to make Friday a regular thing. Don't hold me to it. Um, but if I'm here on a Friday, I'm gonna definitely try to jump on and just hang out. Um, and maybe we can move some interviews to Friday. We'll see. Um, I'm gonna jump off. It's 1 minute and 20, an hour and 26. I'm gonna do 3 more minutes and I'm gonna jump off. Be an hour and a half. Thank you so much. We normally do this on a Tuesday for those that's just checking in, that's not familiar with the channel. We come on Tuesday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we just talk ish. And we moved it to a Friday. Actually, B-Boy Jones and Paid in Full, I like the Paid in Full original better than the Paid in Full remix. Now the remix was the video version with the girl with the Arabian music in it. I kind of like the original better. I don't know. I mean, both of them were dope, but I kind of like the original. All right, we are officially. Let me see. I'm scrolling back up. See what I miss. Benny Doyle said it would be cool to see some regulars as guests too. I might do that. Bring on some regulars and see what's up. That'd be dope. I want to bring Haitian Space Program on here because I need to find out how he got the name Haitian Space Program. We're gonna get to the bottom of that one day. Oh yeah, Papa Large East Coast remix was classic. That was dope. Papa Large, big shout on the East Coast. BDP Numero Uno remix. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I know y'all gonna fact check me. I believe that BDP was the first to do a remix where you actually changed the vocals and made a completely different song, but it was the remix. Most remixes at that time, you take the same vocals and you change the music. Actually, back in 88, 87, 88, they didn't even change the music that much. They just did another mix of the same song. But to change the music, like Numero Uno remix of Still Number One, they used a different sample. They used the same music, but they added some Spanish sample. I think DJ Doc had that sample. And Chris did a completely different song. He was going at MC Poet for dissing him. And he went at the poet. He roasted the poet on that record. Um, I don't think anyone had ever done that before. BDP did that in 88. Now, somebody fact check me, but I just don't think anyone did that before. Changed up the words completely and some of the music. That was almost that's almost Still Number One Part 2, but it's considered a remix. All right. B-Boy Jones says Mob Deep Temperatures Rising remix. Shout out to my girl, Crystal Johnson, for singing on that. All right, we out. We out. We out. We out. We out. We out. Flavor in Your Ear remix was pretty hot at the time. Yeah, it was the same beat. They just threw Big and Busta and LL. That was monstrous. Shout out to Puff, man. Puff was um Gregory Netta says, remember the Youngsters crew, Cruise Pop? I told KG of Naughty by Nature, who produced that record, I had a chance to talk to him a couple years ago, maybe 4 years ago. And I told him that that's one of the favorite beats he ever did. All of the stuff he did platinum records and giant records. I had a chance to tell him Cruise Pop by the Youngsters is one of my favorite beats he ever did. B-Boy Jones has said The Outsiders was from Jersey. What is this, the Paula Abdul episode, Benny Doyle? All right. On that note, yeah, Young Z was from The Outsiders. Yeah, I forgot about. That's what I was trying to remember. Markeith, yeah, Eminem was in The Outsiders for a second. Yep. All right. Thank you so much for checking out the show. We are out of here. God willing, I will be back here on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Big up to the Rewind Friday crew. I hope you guys get a chance to check this out. And I will catch you guys later.